She skillfully sneaked into the bathroom late at night and started a video call with her husband to check in. But as soon as she said a couple of words, her face changed drastically. Then she hurriedly hung up the phone, and immediately a colleague walked in as if nothing had happened. Not knowing if her husband had seen this scene, she immediately asked her colleague to take her back. However, on the way, her husband kept calling her on video. Fearful of being exposed, Amy had to reject all the calls. However, this action would make her regret it for the rest of her life. While driving halfway, the man suddenly noticed that the gas tank he just filled up was already showing empty, so he had to drive to the nearest gas station. But what the man didn't know was, his car had already been tampered with. Meanwhile, Amy entered a convenience store to buy a cup of coffee to stay awake. But when she reached the counter to pay, she found that there was no one in the store. Amy left the money on the counter. Then she prepared to leave. But when she looked up, she saw blood scattered on the shelves in front of her. She immediately realized something was wrong and quickly picked up the pace. However, at that moment, a bullet suddenly came from nowhere, instantly piercing Amy's shoulder. Before she could even react, another bullet hit the nearby shelf. At that moment, Amy couldn't care about the pain. She quickly hid behind the shelf and shouted loudly for the man outside. But he was in the car listening to music. He didn't hear a thing. Amy had no choice but to tear her clothes into strips and made a simple bandage. After tending to the wound, she peeked out to check the situation. Amy was terrified, but no matter how much she called for help, the man did not respond at all. Then Amy remembered her dropped phone, so she carefully crawled toward her phone. But the attacker clearly saw her intentions and shot the phone to pieces with one shot. Amy hid behind the shelf again, feeling helpless, not knowing how to ask for help. Suddenly, the intercom on the counter emitted a sound. This gave her a glimmer of hope. She decisively stood up, struggled to grab 2 bags of chips, and threw one bag upward. This method indeed caught the killer's attention. Then Amy adjusted her breathing and immediately repeated the trick, successfully grabbed the intercom. She quickly explained the situation and urged the person to call the police. But strangely, the person on the other end didn't respond anymore. Meanwhile, the man in the car kept waiting for Amy, so he went to the convenience store to look for her. But before Amy could say anything, the man collapsed to the ground. Amy broke down in terror, tears streaming down her face. Luckily, at that moment, the intercom emitted a sound again. She felt like she had grabbed the life-saving straw. But the next second, the words from the intercom made her fall into complete despair. It turned out the killer was her husband.